Hello, welcome back. This is more Made in Abyss. I am coming off the heavy end of COVID. But with that in mind, I can't sit down and do nothing, so what better way to make yourself feel better than Made in Abyss? Of course, after the end of the last episode, I really wanted to move on to this one almost immediately, even though it wasn't actually released. And so the wait has been torturous. But with Faputa coming to enact some vengeance on the village, on the inhabitants of her mother, which is a sentence I don't think I've ever said before. The history between her and Reg. Then you've still got Rico and the Nachi heavily kind of in the clutches of the village, and actually still under Balaf's care. Is everyone getting out? What's going to happen to all of the villagers? Are we going to learn more about Reg and Faputa's history? Let's find out. Starting off with a deep look into Mitty's eyes. Seeing the entire village start shaking. Faputa herself coming to enact the years-long, centuries, millennia? Long vengeance and her own form of balancing. Yes, why would he share his own experiences? I guess as one way... Is there a better way than to share it technically visually, getting them to see it themselves? Regaling your own tale can sometimes introduce inaccuracies. And with that, it means that the entire village and everyone with it will soon be naught. While it's still... I guess you could point with your eye tendril. Once again, having to say goodbye to Mitty. But isn't she a part of the village now? Anyone leaving? It's slowly... So no matter what now, the curse of the abyss is seeping in. The village itself is losing its strength. Everyone will inevitably cease to be. And she's in a slightly better state than she was when we last saw her. In her cute little pot. She's so conflicted in getting a second chance. Getting a second chance with her. But just like this village, it's holding her in place, keeping her from the adventure. put your own personal feelings and satisfaction aside. And what's really best for them. We're getting a slightly different picture and understanding of Ben holding a conversation like this without having a Mitty milkshake like the first time we met him. You would have enjoyed trying them together. You've met them before, but not in this lifetime. Having it, you know, then actually having the, I can't think of the word, having the agency to release Mitty herself this time. And also going through this entire thing by herself. They followed? Is that... it's a gift of sorts. Knowing their own eradication was at hand, coming out to pass on a gift. A new helmet. I guess after her original armour and everything was used as the payment and bartering chip. How long was he out for? The eternal peace has been broken. And what will he... Was that a stock hit sound effect? She's been busy. I mean, there's anger, and then there's this kind of feral violence. Well, that's an interesting eye. Nice try. Is that the one that likes furry things crawl over it? seeing, you know, at the start of this, you don't think you'd be slightly feeling sorry for creatures of weird little designs like this, but knowing little bits about them and their personal preferences and desires and what they do in the village. 30 minutes. Still a profit. And so you can't just sit back and see all this happen. Actually, yeah, staying back, not running in like she would probably have tried before. So, yeah, and then actually might... Well, she's seen her before, so it wouldn't be... likely, but, you know, might be lost in the moment. Might get caught up in the violence. That voice acting. Maybe don't shout. He said he would stop her. That's a cold resolve. And a hard switch over. Hard switch over to a flashback. The tall beast. And this is before Reg knew several languages. Despite being initially very wary of him. But got some scroungers straight away. I guess, yeah, was it Faputa the Immortal or something? Always going to be repaired. Too slow. Please don't. No. Yeah, I don't want to know how Reg's anatomy really works. Jesus. That's going to cause some trauma. I wonder why that is. Good try. But if you're trying to get through to someone, maybe internal trauma isn't a good way of talking around to them. Is this part of her backstory now? As like, yep. Those stone people. He's probably a little more compact, maybe? Gotta start somewhere. The immortal maiden. So is that bag box... Careful, Faputa. Getting a bit friendly there. To hide the hole in his head. It's considered graceful, is it? And then having that as a juxtaposition to what we saw before with the ferocity. And then we got her jumping around like this. He's also not trying to inflict any harm, even if she is immortal. With the village literally coming apart at the seams. Even if he stops Faputa from... Time for a... Hang on, didn't that bit already change? Time for a palette change. Stone person. Oh, stone person. The whistles. And Prushka being able to have this new form. She was trying to help in her own way. Turns out her instincts there were correct, though. They did find each other. Was the fire rain itself part of a iron rain, part of a memory as well? Was it can? He had layers, it seems. Before troubles were... She put them on there. Aha. I suppose that's how it could work. Might be being greedy, though. It's a decision which is not gone lightly, but I think the analogy there might break down a little bit. Understandable. So he is relaying information across. The annihilator beam. And does he at this point know what this thing he is searching for is? More vocal noises of satisfaction there. She could do a little better than that. And leave you on his journey. She made a thing to not forget him. You can see why she would be so distraught when he has forgotten everything. Forever. So go on a journey, on an adventure. How could you now break that heart, Reg? Jesus. Is that Reg for different seasons? You know, no, she likes biting. Probably why she needs to make so many of them. They don't last very long. The bits and pieces of what he knew of her. How far are you willing to go to enact your dreams? And at what point do the ones that you care about you step in to say you're going too far? And what happens when there are those that don't want to stop? I think for a sort of payoff to everything else that we've seen and learned throughout the past, maybe not 10, 7 episodes about the things lower down here. And, that of Faputa, where she is like this entity outside of the village. Now, understanding now she was birthed from the village itself, that she was the princess that is born of its pain and its probably soon to be executioner. While also enjoying life like anyone would. Having those moments of, like, childlike exuberance. I am filled with distress. I didn't really expect to see Balaf give up ownership of Nanachi, sending off her and Mitty past the line. Like, it's your decision now. You can be with her until you decide you're ready. Make your decision quick, though. You don't have long. And to be fair, I think going outside the bounds and vanishing might be slightly preferable to the fate that the others were being befalled were befalling by being torn apart. But throughout everything, and actually getting a new headpiece made from outside parts, though don't disappear, to remember the time in the village and the time with Mitty and the little ones who she became friends with. The Iron Rain itself being a visual reminder of stuff that they've shared in the past between Reg and Faputa, even if he didn't quite remember. Nice little reveal from Wazkian that his transformation wasn't entirely static. I feel like by the next couple of episodes we will say goodbye to the village in its entirety. Place and inhabitants galore. Because of the innate hatred that Faputa has for all of the villagers here, how would she react to Velko? Because it was Irumi's best friend, her mother figure, her most important thing. Might be an interesting meeting to have. But as such, as we don't have that much time left, I wonder what we will be ending off on, what kind of lesson everyone will have learned. And since Faputa was birthed by by Iruyumi, the village, once it's gone, is she going to be able to stick to that let's go hand in hand? Even with or without the extra plans that she had in mind. And sometimes when we are so obsessed with a goal, you can't see that how you're going about it might not be the best. If she had managed to hold off for a moment, there might have been a way to both get rid of the entire village and all of its inhabitants and get Nanachi and Riko safely out without the need for massive bloodshed and warfare. And still hold up with Faputa's wish to save her mother. Of course, maybe not the immediate gratification of enacting revenge, but that is very short-lived after all. And as we were seeing there, Faputa was literally birthed not understanding anything really about the world apart from what she was innately imbued with, turning around to see all the eyes of the village looking at her, ran off to live in a outside world by herself with the interference robot. And basically has been mostly alone since, meeting Reg being one of the surprising moments in all of this. I hope that at the end of all of this arc that she can get some closure to all of this, and we might get to see some of the just healthy smiles again. A little better than the cracked and hate-filled eyes. Some fucking damn good voice acting, though. You can feel the conflicting emotions and the pain. And it's like tearing of herself between what she's doing. But I do think that Maiden Abyss needs a little more of the little sound effects of glee. There's not many times like that we get to actually know that things are somewhat safe and happy for a while. But if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more with me hopefully feeling slightly better at the end of all of it, consider leaving a like and a comment on the channel. Maybe subscribe so you don't miss out. Maybe even join onto my Discord to know if I have completely fallen to the abyss or not. But I will say for now that Maiden Abyss just doesn't disappoint. Even in moments where you can feel incredibly squeamish and think, I don't know if I can see this. Even in moments that could be a little difficult to watch. You can never go wrong. You always want to see a little more. Although I preferably don't want to see anyone rupturing Reg's internals through his mouth again. Or anywhere else, for that matter. Jesus. Try and join me for more Maiden Abyss. Hopefully I'll see you there. I hope you find your Haku. Whether or not it contains any sort of anime or not is still another thing. But as long as it's kept far away from my channel, I think we will all be happy. But in the meantime, I need to thank Noku, Raywin, Sal, Arthea, Kite, Shiwan, Mats, Girly, Cardboard, Croyville, Levi GR, Megu42, Dark Shadow 7899, Akane, Tori Jane, Wadi Saeed and everyone else for giving up on all of their dreams, and for some reason settling down here.